So I've got my steak, I've got onions, got 3 mushrooms, that was a whole onion. I've got 2 carrots and 2 tomatoes, and it's been pre-washed, and yeah. So the stew that I made, it's been something passed down in my family for over 50 years now. It's something that we made back in the day as my ancestors and my past relatives were all farmers. You know, we've all cultivated our own food, we've always worked for ourselves. So first, the tomatoes, I've got my big knife, and yeah, you want to be careful, you want to make sure you got your fingers in so you don't cut yourself, and you just want to do that, bang straight in the middle. Back in the day, we used to have our own restaurants, and this is where we would serve our stew. This was actually a speciality, so it's one of those that's very dear to us, as it's like come down from son to daughter, to mother, to father, you know, grandma to niece. It's just gone through everyone in the family, and it's just one of those, it's like really great. It's something, you put a lot of heart and passion into the meal to truly get the flavors, and it's just flavorful, it fills you up. It's a great thing to have whenever, and it's something that's just very important to us and our family. And the carrots, I personally don't like to peel off the skin. It kind of gives it a bit of those like earthy tones, I was mentioning it, just a bit more rustic, just a little bit more better, I personally find. Like the skin, there tends to be quite a lot of flavour in it, obviously when it's growing and it's like exposed to the elements. And then like for the carrots, I just do small little chunky little wheels. And then I like to personally, like with the bigger wheels that come to the end, I like to just to cut up a little bit more, you know. I tend to do like, you know, because like the thing with this is like, you know, it's not perfect, it's just kind of, oh, this is a bit big, I'm gonna cut it down. I personally prefer to do in fourths like this, you know, it could be like into 6, it depends. The good thing about this recipe, it's kind of down to yourself. Like obviously there's the key elements, but like down to generation, like different family members will do their monkey stew in their own way.
Here's a fun fact. Carrots are packed with vitamin C, which can really help your eyesight.
And then onion, quite a lot of onion in it as well. This is, when I do my stews, like I've got 1 steak, but you can put 2 in there. It just kind of comes down to the person, like how much you want. Like we personally, you know, we kind of want to go heavy on the veg side, you know, cut up these onions, and we got the tomatoes and the carrots and the mushrooms, of course. This is actually a very special dish to me. It was passed down from my grandma. It means a lot to me, like making this dish is really important. So now that all our veg is chopped, we can now move on to the preparation of the steak. I personally, I like this short as well, but so you're not really meant to do it on a board, but I just believe it just adds a bit of everything, you know. You just really raw, just really primal kind of, you know, get your meat a bit cut up. I like chunkier bits as well, like I said.
The beef being used in this dish has been taken from a steak and is packed with protein. To avoid cross-contamination, you must never place raw meat and vegetables on the same chopping board. If you have just used a knife to cut raw meat, do not use that same knife to cut vegetables. Either wash it thoroughly or replace it.
Personally, I only put 1 steak in. If I had to do it again, I'd probably put 2 steaks, considering this is for a bigger portions, it's bigger family, you know, because with a lot of veg, it's always good to have a balance. Obviously, this one was made in the fact that less people and for less people that wanted meat, but I feel like next time I'll definitely incorporate more meat into it. So now that I've got my pan, I will be putting a bit of water in, and then I'm going to put a bit of stock in it. So the water's going to be boiling. This might take a few minutes. I personally just put it on the highest heat just so it gets it over and done with as quick as possible. So now that the water has started to boil, I'm going to be putting a bit of gravy, stock in it. I like to put chicken, even though it is beef, it just kind of gives it a different flavour, I feel like. Just quite a bit because we kind of want a thick consistency, so I put like 5 teaspoons in it. Black pepper, you want quite a bit of salt as well. Give it a little mix. And then a bit later on, when we've got everything in, I'll be putting in tomato sauce, a bit of sriracha sauce, and a bit of butter. So now I'm going to start by putting my vegetables in there, because these take longer. I'm just gonna slowly drop it in there, all at the same time. And then I'm gonna be putting a bit of sriracha sauce in it, just because a little bit of spice, you know, just a little bit never ever hurt anyone. Beautiful stutter as well. And then you want to let the vegetables cook at a high heat for around 5 to 10 minutes before putting the meat in. So now that I've got the rice, I'm going to use around 2 cups of rice, so we want 4 cups of water. And then just 2 cups of rice. And actually by washing the rice, we'll actually make it fluffier and just a bit nicer. So I just wash it, pour it out, you know, just with my hand, quite easy. Now we want to add the steak.
I picked beef as the meat because, as a red meat, I feel like it is the most appropriate for the stew and complements the sauce the most, as it will naturally absorb the juices.
And then we want to let that cook for another 5 to 10 minutes. Coming back to the rice, making sure we're moving it so it doesn't stick to the bottom. And now I'm going to drain the rice.
Rice is great as it absorbs all the stew's broth and absorbs the flavour naturally as it is grown in a wet climate.
Plate it a little bit more.
When cooked properly, rice can be very effective in a dish as it's full of protein and fibre.
And just then a little bit of sauce. And then we're done. This is monkey stew, made the Portuguese way, and yeah. This is my monkey stew. I think it's turned out great. There's some great flavours, different textures of the vegetables, a little bit of scarce meat, but when you find it, it's a nice little treat. I personally would recommend putting 2 steaks in, but this one is more like leaning into the vegetables more than the meat. So this is great if you're trying to cut down your meat intake, especially with red meats like steak. It has a good amount of sauce. That the rice is great at absorbing in moisture. So it's that really great thing of like every bite has great flavours in it. You can taste all the sauce, everything that's kind of gone in to give these great tones.